you're going to find it really difficult to handle your shit because your business is online, it's 24/7, and thus, guess what happens? You become glued to it, you become aligned to it. There is no separation between you and the baby. You and the baby together. The problem with this is you get to become complacent. And because you get to become lazy and complacent, you end up working 24/7 inside of your business because you're lazy. You're lazy because you don't have to figure it out. All right, welcome back here to another episode on the Modern Man podcast. Today's topic is how to take care of your shit. That's right, gentlemen. It's not how to have a shit. It's actually how to take care of your shit. Now, you might be wondering, well, Lynn, what shit do you mean? And why are you talking about shit? And you see, inside of the previous episodes, I talked about my definition of what it's like to be a man in today's world. And I said, as a man a thousand years ago, you know, a man went through this initiation process. A man had to go and hunt. A man had to go and kill. A man had to become a warrior to then be inside of the tribe leader to be initiated as a man. I'm sure he had to do plenty of other things as well. But I believe that a lot of younger men nowadays struggle with the definition of what it's like to be a man. You're getting a little bit confused where we're starting to go, well, what does it mean to be a man? With technology has kind of changed and accelerated where we're going. It's created a lot of confusion. I almost feel like me right now, I'm kind of like old generation. I'm like old school. I think like the 90s, the music and the music videos. I was having a conversation with Carrie. The music videos that I grew up with in the 90s, that's kind of like vintage. Like the Sony Walkman, like, you know, a Nintendo Game Boy, a Sony Walkman, like an iPod with the 4 gigs when that first came out. I think that was in 2000, but whatever. Like all of that's vintage. And so I truly believe that the younger generation right now have a struggle defining themselves because they're so consumed inside of this technology day and age that coming back to the roots of their DNA, there's something actually missing. So I want to define this, and if you don't agree with me, that's completely fine, right? You don't actually have to agree. This is my show. This is my opinion. And so I want to talk about, firstly, being a man and what that actually means. And the definition that I've given it is being able to handle shit, or being able to handle your shit, take care of your own shit. Be a man that is committed to doing something and following through on your word. Okay, being a man that's trustworthy to himself. Like the very first thing is, you as a man, you got to believe in you. I think belief is one of those things that a lot of people are lacking nowadays. Belief in yourself, figuring out what you want and going after it. Okay? And so the very first thing that you and I will face, like the very first thing that I faced, is taking care of shit in business. Because without this, it's really funny, when I was growing in business and when I was in a relationship, what started to happen was when I got into a relationship, it was great. The very first thing as a younger man and my trajectory was, when I was single, it's kind of like I want to look really good. I want to get into shape. I want to be fit and healthy. I want to give myself the best ability subconsciously, at a subconscious level, to be able to find a girl who can match my level of standard. Okay, and subconsciously this is happening. This is happening to a lot of young men. You know, we have to look good, we've got to dress up, we've got to fit in with the mold, we have got to improve our status. And a great way to improve your status is to actually improve your looks, because you improve your charisma, you improve your attractiveness. Right? And so as a young man, as when I was growing up, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, what started to happen, I saw this pattern. And it was when I was getting into a relationship, I would actually get a little chubby. I don't know how many of you guys actually experienced this, but when I got into a relationship, I got a little chubby. Like I had one too many sponge cakes, right? I love sponge cakes, the ultimate thing. But I had one too many sponge cakes. As soon as I got out of the relationship, 8 weeks later, I was ripped. Like I was jacked, I was ripped. I went to the gym. I didn't feel the need to actually eat shit anymore. It was so hard. Like in a relationship, I would eat a whole bunch of shit. I'd find myself binge eating. I'd be going out eating. Everything was all about eating in the relationship. As soon as the relationship ended, I was like, where's my sweet potato? Where's my pumpkin? Where's my chicken? Where's my rice? Where's my broccoli? I'm not having any sweets. And then 8 to 12 weeks later, I was ripped. And this was a cycle. Happened. I had 3 relationships. Happened after the first one. Happened after the second one, and it hasn't happened yet with Carrie because right now I'm trying to figure out what happened. But it happened with Carrie. I saw myself getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter, and over the last year, it's being able to figure out like the resistance, how to get that back. And so the very first thing as a man is once you get into this relationship, then what happens? You get comfortable. Okay, I got comfortable. And what I started to do was I was like, okay, well, now that we're together, we're going to be together forever. That was in my mindset with Carrie. I was like, well, I got to start figuring out how to produce, because if I don't figure out how to produce, I don't know if your parents will like me. Like, I know what Asian parents are like, especially Chinese parents, like Carrie Shanghainese, right? I know what Chinese parents are like. So all I'm doing right now is I'm thinking about, okay, well, great, like fantastic. I went to uni. I did physiotherapy. Tick. I'm a smart kid. Right? I have I'm thinking. I'm not thinking about what Carrie wants. I'm fucking starting to think about what Carrie's parents wants. I'm trying to impress them, because as long as I can impress them, guess what happens? Well, Carrie's version of reality is fine. And most people's version of reality is trust the parents, trust in their instincts. If the parents approve, we're good. So I know this. And so I'm out there trying to impress the parents. And what the biggest thing that I'm trying to figure out right now is, okay, well, I just left physiotherapy. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to stay in a little confined room touching feet and ankles and walking people around all day. That's not my jam. Unfortunately, if I knew this, if I had the courage to be a man, I wouldn't have finished uni. Like, I wouldn't have gone through hospitals and walking people around and getting them to cough inside of a tissue so I could look at their sputum. We called it sputum. And look at the color and say, oh my God, your sputum is white. Well done. Oh my God, your sputum is green. You have this, ma'am. I wouldn't have done that. Right? I'm thinking back and I go, fuck, there's so much time that I wasted. It kind of pisses me off. But I'm thinking about this and I'm going, okay, well, I'm trying to build this list, this checklist as a man, trying to grow up. And I'm trying to impress Carrie's parents, not trying to impress her. So what I do is I start focusing on the business. And what happens is the business starts to consume me. I'm starting to try to figure out there's so many things that I could do. Like at the time, I've got 6 gyms that I'm managing. Like we'd got contracts for apartment gyms just to deck out and run personal training services in there. I've went into partnership with a yoga and Pilates studio that we're building up here. I thought it was a great opportunity. Right? I started a dental marketing agency just to run ads, Facebook ads for dentists all around Australia, which did wildly well. This was back in 2015. And then I've got my personal training inside of the gym, hybrid, online personal training. So I've got a couple of businesses, and I've also running a supplement company at the same time, right? Like this is getting protein powders made in these little containers so that we can drop off in vending machines across Australia in 24-hour gyms. That's a little side hustle. All in all, I say we, but at the time it's me with a virtual assistant, a few people packing boxes, and I'm running somewhat in between the 300 350,000 mark a year in terms of revenue. Not bad for being 21. But at the same time, profit margins are like ridiculously low. Work hours are ridiculously high. Anyway, so I'm with Kara at the time, and I'm just trying to figure out my way. I'm trying to figure out, because all of these ventures that I have, I know deep down inside they all suck. No one else does. Everyone's like, wow, you're like this businessman. The projection of what I can put on Instagram is ridiculous, right? The projection of what I can put on Facebook, what I want you to see of me is ridiculous. So outside in the world, everyone's like, wow, you're absolutely crushing it. I'm like, well, yeah, my supplement company is doing like $42,000 this year. We make 10, 20 little container sales a week, which is great. Nothing to be excited about. I don't tell them that I work 20 hours. I don't tell them that I was putting the labels on at home in the garage. I tell them all these things, right? Because at 21, guess what? You're in shape, you're the look of the town. I'm like ticking off all these boxes. And so it's really crazy, because the only person that knows me is Carrie. Why? Because she's essentially got a vlog on me, which is her own lens, looking at me 24/7. She gets to see behind my worldview. At the same time, I don't even recognize that this is happening, but even then she doesn't, because she spends 9 to 5 at work in Telstra corporate. at the time, and I'm just being this crazy boss at home. So at the time, I'm trying to figure out this whole entire game, and I know I got to let everything go. And so I let go of the gyms. Really, really difficult to let go, because when you actually have contracts, you pay no rent, and you get all the clients inside of a resident building. That's 1,000 people in 6 buildings. That's 6,000 people. That's 6,000 leads that go into the gym, into the facility, and you're running it. That's a lot of money. Stupidly enough, I didn't capitalize on that because my attention was diverted everywhere else. So I let go of everything, and I go, fuck this, Lynn. You're not going to be able to do everything well because you're not doing one of these things well. So which one do you want to do? At the same time, I look at dental marketing agencies, and there's a reason why I didn't become a dentist, apart from the fact that I didn't get the score. But there's a reason why. Number one, I didn't like the people. Like, no offense to dentists or dentistry, that whole industry. It's just a very kind of uptight. Uptight's probably the best word. Uptight industry, right? Didn't want to deal with them. Pain in the ass clients, cheap as fuck. So I let them go too. I was like, well, we're going to get rid of 20 clients right here. Take that and go. Partnership I had to let go of in Baronia. I was like, well, this is really shit, because I'm actually stepping out here doing everything. I put in about $35,000 to get the build out and the fit done. And I was driving out there every single day looking after it, and it wasn't actually making any money. And I was like, especially when you have poured so much money into it, you don't want to let go. And so the hardest part as a leader and a man is being able to let go and cut your losses and move on, and not stay in something because you've invested something. Like that I should have let go earlier. Anyway, I let that go. That was in 2015. And then I decided, well, I'm going to go all in on this coaching business. I'm going to go all in on my online coaching consulting business. I'm going to blow this shit up. I'm going to leave the gym and off it go. So I spent the next 6 months being a hobo at home trying to figure this game out. Okay, and at the time, the biggest thing for me is I need to actually make money. I need to handle my shit. But the problem was, when Kerry would come home, my eyes would be gluing on the business. And the reason for this was because this was such a new baby. I didn't see this at the time, but this was what was happening. Kerry would come home, I'd be working, we'd go out to dinner, I'd be kind of working. My mind was always thinking about the business. I couldn't switch it off. There was no off switch. Like, how can you take an off switch when you feel as though this newborn business, this newborn baby of yours isn't getting fed? And I knew that there wasn't consistency in revenue, there wasn't consistency in operations, there was no operations whatsoever. It was literally the operations was me. And I didn't actually start to figure out the game of operations, and still I started doing it. And then once you do it, you then get to process it. But most people start inside of the game of trying to outsource and trying to delegate before they actually do. And so without doing, you don't really know. So I was in the doing. And so part of this whole entire thing is as a married man dealing with your shit, the biggest issues that you have, which pulls your time and attention away from your family, time and attention away from yourself, the reasons why you'll get fat, the reasons why I got fat, the reasons why I went to the gym and I became like a texter. I was just texting, right? The reasons why Kerry hated me when we went on holidays, the reasons why, I would go out and every single trip that we would take ended up in a fight. The reasons why I felt comfortable staying at home all the fucking time. Like, I start to look back at myself and I go, wow, that guy was a real loser. And what kind of life did he want to live? And I didn't care about life at the time because it was all about survival. It's all about surviving. And if you can't get that through the survival stage, don't start a business. Get a job, right? Business is all about survival, or any energy, effort you put in needs to be built, needs to be maintained. It's kind of business is exactly the same as having a baby. And and I didn't know this experience, but when you have a baby, like the very first 6 months, that baby is glued to your mama, glued to your mama's teeth. Every couple of hours feeding, nighttime feeding, waking up every 2 hours, crying, baby, da-da-da-da. And it's not until the baby starts to actually pick up solids and feed itself that the mother starts to actually get time back to herself and go, oh my God, I can actually breathe now. The baby's okay. The hormones start to recuperate inside of the mum. The mother then, the mother's body realizes, okay, great, well, we can actually like have another baby now. That's when she starts ovulating. That's when another baby starts to happen after 9 months. Now, you don't get pregnant straight away after having a baby. Why? Because this current baby, there's just too much pressure. It requires your mom's attention, very similar to your business. And right now, the problem with most men who run these new businesses, new companies, and run these digital companies, online companies, etc. I'm not talking about the 40, 50-year-old guys. I'm talking about like the 20-year-olds, up and coming men. You're gonna find it really difficult to handle your shit because your business is online. It's 24/7, and thus, guess what happens? You become glued to it. You become aligned to it. There is no separation between you and the baby. It's you and the baby together. The problem with this is you get to become complacent. And because you get to become lazy and complacent, you end up working 24/7 inside of your business because you're lazy. You're lazy because you don't have to figure it out. It's not until you recognize as a man of what it is that you want inside of your life. And you might go, well, then I just want my business. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want your business. You've become accustomed to falling in love with your business. You're saying the same bullshit I did, right? I was like, I just love working. I don't fucking love working. I love eating sponge cake. I love like enjoying my life. I love going to movies. I love watching a nice movie. I love playing chess. I love playing drums. I love playing tennis. The end. And I love lifting some weights because I want to look good too. That's what I love. I love business. Business has become a skill set because I know that mastering the skill set is extremely valuable. And by doing it, yes, I've fallen in love with it. But I don't love business for the sake of doing business. I actually, right now, when I become a father to her, I love just playing with her. Like, I wish I could just play with her all day without any thought, any other worry. And that's the ultimate presence. And you see, like, at times, I often find myself in this weird dichotomy between spending time with her and worrying about the business. Some days, I'm actually fully present. There's other days where I'm stressed out about the business. I got to handle my shit, because if I don't, I can't be present with her. If I can't handle my shit, I can't go for walks up Mount Kilimanjaro with Kerry. I can't go to Africa. Can't go on. My mind is not here because I've got this baby that I need to attend to. And so the very first thing that you need to handle inside of your life is your business. Handle your shit. And business comprises of two things. Comprises of marketing and innovation. Comprises of your ability to actually generate revenue. You can figure out how to get leads, figure out how to get customers, and at the same time, figure out how to smooth out the operations and deliver on your promises. At the same time, if you actually start to get creative, you can do that first. That's fantastic. And then once you start to look at that, then figure out how to innovate so that you can stay, because business constantly changes. Business constantly evolves, it fucking changes. What I mean by this? Well, just like your body changes, it's like every single time you lift weights, okay, after a period of time, your body wants to go back to default. Like, you get really strong, and then if you don't lift weights for a while, it drifts back. Okay, just like your relationship changes. Like, if you take your wife out, your girlfriend out for a date night, you invest in her, you buy something, that gift, right, that emotional investment that you made, it buys you some time, and then it drifts back if you don't pour effort into it. The same with the business. You can actually build this thing up and then get it to a place, but then you'll notice that it drifts back if you don't evolve. So what do? Well, you get it to a place where you get ahead, and then you build on top of it. You figure out how you can actually stay ahead, innovate, and be better and improve your product service. So part of this game of business is really difficult for a lot of people because they get into business and business is just so fucking hard. Like, it really is. A couple of things that are hard inside of life, once you actually have a business, is focusing on yourself, physically, your health, and being able to juggle your communication connection with your partner and your family, being able to communicate to your wife to actually be aligned on this. It's all really fucking hard. Heck, having a relationship is already hard because you've got two people with two different worldviews coming in, clashing, because I'm brought up a different way. Like, I'm brought up, my 30 years of what my life should be, what my parents taught me, where I went to school, who I hung out with, what stories, beliefs, and things came up for me is completely different to how Kerry's grew up. I didn't know this. I thought it was kind of the same. I'm like, well, hey, I see the world this way, therefore you should. My worldview is better than yours. I never actually considered that I have a fucked up worldview. Never ever considered. I was like, what I think is the best. Now I'm like, I need to unlearn everything I know because it's keeping me here, and I need to actually be careful of what I choose to accept inside of my mind. I talked about this, the cup, the marbles inside of the brain. If you want to change, you change those marbles. Those marbles are stories. Okay? So what is the lesson here? The lesson is, if you don't take care of shit, if you don't make a commitment to take care of your shit in business, build that baby up from an infant, right? From an infant that has to suck on your boob every single hour, to an infant, to a baby that can self-feed itself. That's the stage of the business. So you have a business, it starts off, it's all you. It has to be all you. And nobody gets it. You don't even get it. You're like, why am I so focused on this? You don't get it. To this stage where it feeds itself, to a stage where now you can have babysitters, which are the leaders that are coming in and feeding itself, and that's where you buy back time. So you buy back time for yourself. So the difference between, it's really funny because you'll buy back time and then you'll leave this baby to focus on your actual baby, and your actual baby is the craziest thing that will actually give you fulfillment in life. Yes, your business may be fulfilling at times, but your actual baby will hit your soul. He or she will open up a chasm of love. Just pour, just rip your heart out and just go, here's love, daddy. And that's the most amazing thing. That's what I want for you. Which is why in today's episode, the question I've got for you is, where do you have shit that you need to take care of in business that you have not committed to taking care of because you've been far too lazy? Let me know. I'll see you on the next episode.